Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Our next weather maker taking shape back to the west, getting ready to move across the Mississippi Valley. It is going to bring us a fairly miserable day for tomorrow. I'll show you the timing, how much rain we could see.
Out of network, UNC and Cigna appear to be deadlocked. What the impasse means for patients. And conflict in the Caribbean. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle demand answers over a reported double tap strike by the U.S. military. Tomorrow is the WRAL weather alert day due to a cold rain in the forecast. Right now, though, blue skies and lots of sunshine out there, but it won't warm up much today. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Chu. And I'm Michelle McConaughey in for Chris Levingood. Thank you so much for joining us. Meteorologist Elizabeth Garner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at how what the rain could bring to our morning commute.
Oh, it's going to be messy for us tomorrow morning. High pressure is zipping by to the north, feeding in some chilly air. So that cold air will be in place here as the rain begins. Won't be cold enough for anything frozen, but there's definitely another round of snow for the Midwest. It got hit pretty hard over the weekend with some snow as well. Here's a look at Futurecast for us. It's beautiful outside right now, but by 5 to 7 o'clock, we begin to see the cloud cover streaming into the area, and it'll be cloudy overnight tonight. We have to take it out pretty far, all the way up until around 3 or 4 in the morning before the rain begins, but it does quickly spread across our area between 5 and 6 o'clock. So when most of us head out the door tomorrow, it is going to be wet, and notice the yellow and orange shaded areas. That's where the rainfall will be on the heavier side. And honestly, that could be anywhere. That continues on and off all the way up until after lunch. Finally, by the time we get to 3 or 4 o'clock, it begins to become a bit more scattered. Even at 5 o'clock, there could be a few isolated showers from Raleigh eastward, but the rain won't be heavy as it will be from, say, 5 a.m. to maybe 3 p.m. This is a look at the temperatures that will go along with it as you're heading out the door tomorrow morning. It'll range from upper 30s to low 40s, and in the afternoon, as the rain is tapering off, temperatures will remain in the upper 40s. It won't be the only chance for rain in the next week. We'll talk about how much more rain we could see coming up.
All right, thank you, Elizabeth. And now is the time to download the new WRAL weather app and plan ahead for severe weather. It allows you to watch radar in real time to see when storms are in your area. Be sure you have the WRAL News app installed on your phone. Turn on those alerts to get notified about severe weather in your location. Starting today, if you have Cigna health insurance and you use UNC Health Systems, you'll have to find a new provider or risk paying much more money. After months of negotiations, the two sides could not come to an agreement before Sunday's deadline. WR's Sean Gallagher joins us live now. And Sean, in terms of negotiations, where do the two sides stand right now?
Oh, this morning, they both tell me that the negotiations aren't dead despite the deadline having passed. So starting today, despite those contract negotiations, some 65,000 people who use UNC Health Systems and have Cigna will have to make a very tough decision about the future of their health care. Now, the deadline has passed. Cigna members who use UNC Health will need to find a new provider in network or pay a much higher price now that UNC Health will be considered out of network or just pay out of pocket entirely. It's putting people like Becky Pizzoni in a bind. She's a cancer survivor, and while the outlook for her future is good, she's concerned if it returns, she'll have to find a whole new care team or pony up to keep her current doctors.
It cost me at least $4,000 more a year. I'm pretty concerned about that. You know, I could use that money for something else if I stay. Otherwise, it's just going to be the stress of finding somebody and getting established and transferring your records. And meanwhile, could somebody please renew my prescriptions?
Now, we have received statements from both Cigna and UNC Health today. UNC Health telling me it remains committed to continuing negotiations, and they are hopeful Cigna will work with them to reach an agreement that puts patients first. And Cigna says, our goal is to keep UNC Health in network, and we have offered to extend our current contract. We remain engaged in discussions with a goal of reaching a fair agreement for our customers and their families. Now, Cigna members who are using UNC Health could be eligible for continuity of care for a limited amount of time, but it's really only people who are pregnant, currently hospitalized, or receiving an active treatment before today. And then even still, those people need to contact Cigna themselves to see if they're eligible in the first place. They can do that by dialing the number on the back of their card. In Raleigh, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
Millions of SNAP food benefit recipients may soon have to meet new work rules to keep their benefits. President Trump's spending plan that is now law requires at least 80 hours of activity each month. A Congressional Budget Office report says that will mean 2.4 million fewer people getting benefits on average. Some states are reporting confusion, rushed timelines, and technology systems not ready to implement the change. As a result, some residents could lose food aid as soon as January.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, we're about to get a clearer picture of who will be on the ballot in 2026. Just minutes ago, the candidate filing for next year's elections began. Politicians seeking seats in Congress, the state Supreme Court, and other important races have a couple of more weeks to sign up. Now, the biggest race on the ballot next year will be for the U.S. Senate seat that will be vacated by Tom Tillis. The candidates who sign up in the coming days will determine who faces off in the March primaries ahead of November's general elections.
December kicks off a new month, which means new North Carolina laws take effect. One of them is Arena's Law, named after a woman killed on a train in Charlotte. WRAL's Laura Levine reports.
This is a tough on crime bill that county officials say could have major implications, requiring more resources from the courts to law enforcement and even hospitals. Now, Arena Law is named for the woman stabbed to death on a train in Charlotte. The man charged in the incident had been released earlier this year following a misdemeanor charge in a separate case. Arena's Law requires more strict scrutiny when considering pretrial release. The law also attempts to bring back the death penalty in North Carolina, ordering Governor Stein to find a solution. Wake County District Attorney Lauren Freeman says that could be difficult.
First and foremost, there is still no approved method of execution in the state of North Carolina, and I anticipate there will be years of litigation before one could be identified. I certainly do not support and would hope that the state of North Carolina avoid putting in place things such as shooting squads. I think we are above that as a state.
Now, this law doesn't specifically name and state firing squads. However, Governor Josh Stein said in a previous video message, there will be no firing squads in North Carolina during my time as governor, calling this barbaric. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
The suspect in connection with a fatal shooting of a 12-year-old in Clayton is now in custody. Clayton police say Tyreen Washington turned himself in this morning. The shooting happened around 5:30 on Friday. Police were responding to a disturbance at an apartment on Commodore Street. While there, officers learned the boy had been shot. He died despite efforts by EMS to save him.
Border Patrol agents are expected to launch Swamp Sweep today in New Orleans. However, the city's mayor-elect, Elena Moreno, was born in Mexico. She says she's received limited information about the expected operation. Initially, the immigration crackdown was to be called Swamp Sweep. That name has apparently changed. Officials have not disclosed the new name. According to New Orleans' last census, about 6.5% of residents were foreign-born. Wake County Sheriff Willie Rowe is responding to reports that ICE agents will be in the Triangle today. The sheriff released a statement that reads, in part, the presence of ICE personnel in Wake County is not new. Our office has not coordinated with ICE regarding any potential operations, and our deputies do not conduct immigration enforcement. Please avoid sharing unverified information on social media. Inaccurate posts can cause fear and may make community members hesitant to call law enforcement for assistance.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, Wake County deputies say they have 3 people in custody after the deputies located a stolen vehicle. Sky 5 was over that scene earlier this morning at Battle Bridge and Rock Quarry Roads. This all started this morning when deputies tried to stop that car, matching the description of a stolen vehicle. The driver, though, did not stop and kept going. Deputies chased that vehicle to Dowcross Road, which is not far from Rock Quarry Road, where the driver and 2 passengers jumped and ran. But with the help of canine units, the State Highway Patrol, and Raleigh Police, all 3 people were eventually captured and taken into custody. We're working to find out their identities and what charges they could face.
A woman accused of hitting and killing another woman, then leaving the scene, is expected in court. An arrest warrant says Magna Galicia hit and killed a woman on Sumner Boulevard near the Triangle Town Center on Friday. She is charged with felony hit and run and driving with her license revoked. She's being held in jail on a $100,000 bond. A major legal showdown involving Michael Jordan's NASCAR team heads to federal court in Charlotte. Jordan's team, 23XI and Front Row Motorsports, accuse NASCAR of running a monopoly and forcing unfair charter agreements. The case has already exposed tense relationships inside the sport, including harsh private messages between executives and team owners. NASCAR says it has done nothing illegal and tried to settle before today's hearing. The trial could reshape the future of motorsports.
NC State football will open its 2026 season in Brazil. The Wolfpack will take on Virginia on August 29th in Rio de Janeiro. The game will air on an ESPN network. It will be the first ever football bowl subdivision game played in the South American country. Ticket pre-sales opened through the universities today. They go on sale to the general public on December 15th. UNC football will start their 2026 season abroad as well on the same day. They are headed to Europe. The Tar Heels are playing TCU in Dublin on August 29th. Tickets are available through travel and hospitality packages right now.
And let's take a live look at Wall Street and how the stock market is doing at this hour. Right now, we are in the red. The Dow Jones Industrial down 204 points. The S&P 500 is down 14 points. NASDAQ down 44 points at this hour. Next at noon, fatal strike ×2. Why the White House and Senate, the House and Senate, are now investigating a second strike on an alleged drug smuggling boat.
Also, a couple in Australia in jail for cheating a casino out of more than $1 million. How they were able to pull it off.
Plus, U.S. officials heading to Moscow tomorrow to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The discussions that are expected to happen.
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000. Sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
The House and Senate are investigating a reported second strike on an alleged drug smuggling boat. It reportedly happened in September in the Caribbean. The second strike reportedly killed survivors of an initial U.S. strike, which could be a war crime. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez reports.
This morning, President Trump defending his defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, amid mounting scrutiny of U.S. boat strikes near Venezuela.
I have great confidence in him.
The controversy centering on September 2nd strikes on a boat the Trump administration alleges was carrying illegal drugs. On Friday, the Washington Post reporting, citing two sources, that after the first strike left survivors, a second strike was conducted to comply with a Hegseth order to kill all on board. Trump responding on Air Force One.
He said he did not say that, and I believe him 100%.
And asked if the second strike would be legal.
Number one, I don't know that happened. And Pete said he did not want them. He didn't even know what people were talking about. So we'll look into it. But no, I wouldn't have wanted that, not a second strike.
Hegseth posting our current operations in the Caribbean are lawful. In a rare break with the president, Republican leaders of the Senate and House Armed Services Committees are pledging rigorous oversight.
I don't think he would be foolish enough to make this decision to say, kill everybody, kill the survivors, because that's a clear violation of the law of war.
Obviously, if that occurred, that would be very serious, and I agree that would be an illegal act.
Over the past few months, U.S. boat strikes have killed more than 80 people. The Trump administration says the attacks are necessary to fight drug cartels, but has not provided evidence of its allegations about the boats. The U.S. has also been sending thousands of troops to the Caribbean. The president now posting that all airlines should consider the airspace above and surrounding Venezuela to be closed. Asked whether that meant an airstrike was imminent.
Don't read anything into it.
More than a dozen FEMA workers who were suspended after criticizing President Trump's overhaul of the agency have now been reinstated. The workers were among nearly 200 current and former FEMA officials who signed a letter back in August. It warned Congress that the president's actions could put American lives in danger, comparing the risks to the disastrous response after Hurricane Katrina. FEMA attorneys determined signing the letter was protected by whistleblower laws. The U.S. Supreme Court is taking up a $1 billion online piracy case that some internet companies say could result in outages. Today, the justices will hear a dispute about peer-to-peer file sharing. A jury previously ordered Cox Communications to pay Labels $1 billion for widespread copyright infringement. The court's decision will determine how copyright law is applied to file sharing on the internet and possibly even future technologies like AI.
Attorneys for Luigi Mangione returned to court today for a series of hearings. They're trying to block some of the evidence. Mangione is charged in the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Lawyers want to ban the 9mm handgun and a notebook found in Mangione's backpack. The defense argues that police did not have a search warrant, meaning those items should be excluded from the trial. The defense also wants the judge to exclude some of Mangione's statements to police because they claim officers had not read him his rights. A hearing on the federal case is set for January. Well, a couple accused of using spy equipment to cheat an Australian casino out of more than $1 million is being held without bail. Organized crime units say the couple traveled to Sydney from Kazakhstan to visit the casino in a number of times in October and November. Officers say the two used small magnetized probes to secretly capture images. Police say they also used earpieces and customized cell phones to transmit information about placing bets.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, live pictures coming into our newsroom of Pope Leo addressing the faithful at a mass in Beirut. You can see the faithful, thousands gathered there to hear the Pope speak. Earlier today, the pontiff made his way to pray outside a tomb of a saint revered by Christians and Muslims alike in Lebanon. Pope Leo is in Beirut after a 4-day visit to Turkey. Now, yesterday, the Holy Father addressed members of the Catholic clergy. He met with Lebanon leaders where he called for a two-state solution to end the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. He also praised the Lebanese people for their resilience. Lebanon has the largest share of Christians in the Middle East.
The Carolina Panthers got their biggest win of the year yesterday in Charlotte against the Los Angeles Rams. The Panthers picked up 3 defensive turnovers, one of which was taken to the end zone for a pick-6 in the first quarter. Bryce Young had a big day, throwing 3 passing touchdowns in their 31-28 win. The Panthers will play the Saints in New Orleans on Sunday. Looking ahead, the Patriots will host the Giants in tonight's Monday Night Football matchup on ESPN. The Pats are 10-0 so far. They are on a 9-game win streak. The Giants are 2-10. They have not won a game since October 9th. Kickoff at Gillette Stadium is at 8:15 p.m.
We are in the WRAL Severe Weather Center now with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Dry and cool for today, but that's all going to change tomorrow.
It is. You can see all the snow that really catches your eye up here, kind of in the central to upper Midwest, but then also some rain across parts of the deep South, Texas and Louisiana. And all of this is starting to push eastward, and that's what comes our way for tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of moisture that comes up from the Gulf of Mexico with the system and brings us a decent amount of rain. We're talking about maybe our northwestern counties seeing as much as a half an inch, but some of our central and eastern counties as much as an inch and a half. At 3 a.m., it begins to push into our western counties, and it spreads across the viewing area. Between 5 and 6 a.m., solidly raining across almost the entire state by 7 a.m. And we'll have pockets where that's coming down pretty heavily. And like we talked about before, it's going to be cold when this happens. Temperatures will be in the upper 30s to low 40s. It won't be cold enough for anything frozen, but cold enough just to be really miserable and heavy enough that it will probably cause some traffic problems for us in the morning. This is lunchtime or just after, and then right after that it starts to break up a little bit. But at 5 o'clock, there could be a few light showers lingering. The streets are probably going to be wet, so there could be some minor issues lingering into the evening commute if those showers continue. It looks like by 7 o'clock it's completely over. So because of this chilly rain, mainly during the commute time, we're looking at a WRAL weather alert day. And even though it will be widespread, it doesn't look like we would see flooding. It will, of course, be stretched across a number of hours, and it's been very dry lately, so the ground should be able to soak it up just fine. It is likely to be disruptive for the morning commute and then just uncomfortable after that all the way to the middle or latter part of the afternoon. And again, most of it should be over by the evening commute, at least the heavy part. It is pretty out there right now. This is a look at Pittsburgh from Doherty's restaurant, and you can see it just looks gorgeous out there. A few high, thin clouds starting to stream in ahead of the system tonight. 44 degrees is our current temperature. Our winds are northeast at 9 miles per hour, and it's 43 in South Hill, 46 in Goldsboro, and 45 in Southern Pines. So in my book, that's coat weather. We'll climb into the upper 40s in the Triangle and low 50s in Fayetteville. Our normal high is 58, and so we're looking at temperatures about 10 plus degrees cooler than that. Today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Friday, closer to normal on Thursday. Thursday looks like a fairly comfortable day, actually. We're very excited about our tower lighting, which is 7 p.m. on Wednesday. It looks like it's going to be nice and clear in Raleigh, Durham, and Rocky Mount, where our towers are. Temperatures should be in the upper 30s to right around 40 degrees. And we invite you to join us at any of those locations, or just tune in WRAL starting at 7 o'clock, and you can see there's the tower on Wednesday. Another chance for rain Friday and Saturday. Coming up, we'll talk more about that pattern as we head closer to the weekend.
Elizabeth, thanks. Drop and go. Why just leaving your rental car after using it can be risky, and how to go about making the return so you don't waste your money. That story at 4.
And then at 5, playoff chances with a big win over the Rams over the weekend. You cannot count the Panthers out yet. We break down the rest of the season.
Welcome back as we take a live look at Fenton there. Okay, there are just 24 days until Christmas. Let that sink in. 24 days. Christmas trees usually take center stage, prompting a familiar question: fake or artificial?
Yes, but when it comes to sustainability, experts say there's pros and cons for both options. Ted Linder takes a closer look at the recommendations that could help you make that decision.
As more families start preparing to decorate for the holidays, many are facing the choice of whether to pick out a real or artificial Christmas tree for the season.
There's a lot of tradition and family stories and other really important things built into that.
If sustainability is important to you, Dr. Jennifer Russell, associate professor at Virginia Tech, says a main factor to take into consideration is how long you're planning on using your tree for.
So real trees are fantastic. They make our houses smell great. They're bringing nature into our home, but they have a life cycle of 1 year, right? So they'll have to grow for 7 to 8 years to be used once, and then they're going to be disposed. And the advantage of an artificial tree in that context is that it's very energy intensive and high impact to make that tree the first time, but then you can use it for many, many years. And so it's much more durable.
Because of the plastic and metal materials in artificial trees, Dr. Russell says they should be kept and reused for a minimum of 7 years in order to have lower overall impacts on the environment compared to buying a real tree every year.
There's such a high upfront investment of energy and impact, but the longer that you use it, the more you can kind of amortize or to allocate those impacts over time compared to a real Christmas tree.
Meanwhile, Dr. Russell also recommends avoiding artificial trees with lights built in to help expand their life cycles.
Bulbs are more likely to go, and electrical wires are more likely to be degraded over time.
So today we are asking, what type of Christmas tree do you prefer, real or artificial? You can share your voice right now by scanning the QR code on your screen on the top right there, or you can go to WRAL.com/yourvoice. We will share the final results before the end of the newscast, but it looks like right now 100% of you are saying you prefer a real tree. It smells nice too.
It certainly does. Productive but incomplete. Ukraine agrees to the core principles of the U.S. brokered peace proposal, the major sticking point for the Kremlin.
And preserving your peace, why therapists say a few minutes to yourself can really help reduce the stress of the holiday season. And here's a look at your winning NC Education lottery numbers. Good luck.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Wintry weather in the Midwest made it more difficult for Thanksgiving travelers to get back home.
Airports across the country are still dealing with delays and cancellations today. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains the obstacles for some people returning home to RDU.
That disruption lasted about an hour yesterday. Operations are back to normal here at RDU. So you can see folks here going through the TSA security line here in Terminal 2. Officials determined that there was no threat and gave an all clear. We're tracking cancellations and delays today at RDU. All this comes after a busy travel day following the holiday. Heavy snowfall in the Midwest and central part of the country causing flight disruptions nationwide. We spoke with travelers here at RDU whose flights were impacted.
We've been delayed over 14 hours. We hit a terrible snowstorm in Green Bay, and the flight was delayed about 4 hours there. We were sent to Minneapolis, where we missed our flight. Our luggage got left there, and we ended up having to get a hotel last minute.
Just a tough situation there for Dana Rich. We imagine that several other travelers had similar stories, as there were 200 delayed flights at RDU yesterday, 5 cancellations. So we'll be sure to keep you updated on what's happening on the flight boards today. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News at RDU.
And happening now in the WRAL Live Center, we're keeping track of flight cancellations and delays here at home as we take a live look at RDU International. It looks like business as usual, right? Well, take a look at the big board this morning. We're looking at 43 delayed flights at RDU International. 23 flights inbound to Raleigh-Durham are delayed. 20 flights going outbound are delayed as well. So it stands to reason you got somebody coming in, you're going out at RDU International, make sure you check with your airline. In terms of the misery map, checking a couple of airports with a number of connecting flights out of RDU International. Charlotte, you're looking at 27 delays right now. Atlanta is another spot where there are a number of connecting flights out of RDU. You're looking at 57 delays. And quickly, New York, you're looking at 67 delayed flights. Again, you got an airline, you got a flight, check with your airline before you head to the airport.
Good advice. Thanks, Ken. Arena's law is now in effect here in North Carolina. It's named after the woman stabbed to death on a light rail train in Charlotte. Arena's law requires additional scrutiny when considering pretrial release. It'll require judges to order a mental health evaluation if the suspect faces a violent offense and eliminates cashless bail. The law also attempts to bring back the death penalty in North Carolina, ordering Governor Stein to find a solution. Wake leaders say that could be difficult. And Arena's law is just one of several laws taking effect today. There will be harsher penalties for assaulting utility workers, repeat offenders of domestic violence, soliciting children on the internet, exposing children to drugs, crimes involving fentanyl, and even stealing gift cards. Another law bans political discrimination in disaster relief efforts. After Hurricane Milton in Florida, a FEMA employee was fired after telling their team to avoid homes with Trump signs. Another law gives more power to North Carolina State Auditor Dave Bullock. He will be able to investigate any entity, including private businesses, if they receive state or federal funding. More new state laws take effect on January 1st, so you can expect another list just like this one in the new year. You can read a breakdown of the new laws online right now at the NC Capitol section of WRAL.com.
President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, heads to Moscow tomorrow to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss the latest peace proposal for the war in Ukraine. NBC's Richard Engel reports from southern Ukraine.
I'm now in southern Ukraine, an area that is often targeted by Russian forces. And even though right now there is an intense diplomatic effort underway to try and end this war after nearly 4 very long years and hundreds of thousands dead on both sides, there is no ceasefire. And the Russian attacks continue in an unrelenting way. There were Russian attacks over the weekend, killing at least one person in an apartment complex near Kyiv. There was another Russian attack to the east of here in the city of Dnipro, and at least 4 people were killed there, according to local officials. But despite the ongoing violence, there is this determined effort right now between Ukraine and the Trump administration to try and get on to the same page, to try and come up with a more unified negotiating position to present to Vladimir Putin potentially tomorrow. And that's when Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is due to be in Russia meeting with Putin to try and come up with terms to finally end this war. Richard Engel, NBC News, outside Mykolaiv, Ukraine.
The FDA says it'll tighten its vaccine approval process. A memo obtained by CNN claims an internal review linked 10 children's deaths to the COVID-19 vaccine. The memo says younger children faced low risk from the virus, but many were required to be vaccinated through mandates. Officials say future vaccines must show stronger safety and benefit, but have not explained yet how that process will change. And researchers are optimistic about the possibility of reversing type 1 diabetes. Researchers at the Stanford School of Medicine have finished what they're calling a landmark study. They studied 19 mice over time and found that resetting their immune system and creating new insulin-making cells reversed the disease in all mice. Scientists say that this lays the groundwork for similar research with humans.
Resolution reboot. Why setting goals for the new year starts now and how you can help set yourself up for success.
And prioritizing yourself, how to take care of you during this stressful time of year and carving out ways to protect your solitude.
Remember, you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your streaming device.
With Black Friday in the rear, all eyes are on Cyber Monday and the deals that shoppers can find online today. Here's 5 on your side's Ashley Rowe with 5 important reminders before you click Add to Cart.
Cyber Monday is a great time for scammers to strike. Here are 5 important reminders from the Better Business Bureau. Beware of false advertising and fake websites. Scammers love to create fake look-alike websites with deals that seem too good to be true. Keep your antivirus software up to date, both on your computer and your phone. This helps you avoid non-secure websites. To save even more, take advantage of rewards and loyalty programs. Credit card companies usually offer special point offers meant to save even more on Cyber Monday. Use your credit card if it's an option. They offer more protection when phony charges appear. And number 5, watch out for phishing scams, unsolicited emails, texts, or calls meant to steal your information. Check out the best Cyber Monday deals right now through the WRAL Smart Shopper. Just look under the 5 on your side consumer tab on WRAL.com. Ashley Rowe, 5 on your side.
Living in fear. After months of uncertainty, a California homeowner now knows what's been making a mess in his crawl space when he finally hopes experts will solve his problem. And easing into the new year, now is the time to get a jump on your New Year's resolution. Why starting early can lead to sustainable lifestyle changes. Some say it's the most wonderful time of the year, but for others, it may be the most stressful. Emily Gibbs shares how you can stay present throughout the hustle and bustle of the holiday season.
Arriving home after a long, hectic day often calls for solitude.
Just sitting in the car for a few minutes alone is crucial for me to be able to get through the things that I need to get through.
Good job. Hillary, mom of 3 young boys, says it helps her get back into parenting mode.
We feel as though we can't be the best parents we can be when we're not getting time to refresh and get our energy back.
And she's not alone. A new national survey of 1,000 Americans by the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center finds more than half of respondents say it is very important to their mental health to have adequate alone time. Sophie Lazarus, clinical psychologist at the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, says in a world that glorifies staying busy, a pause can be very rewarding, both mentally and physically.
Our nervous system can settle, our mind can settle, our body can settle. And I think that can be important. We know that chronic stress is not good for us.
This starts with prioritizing yourself, even when life gets hectic.
Maybe it's putting your phone in a totally different room, right, when you are deciding you're going to spend alone time.
A simple gesture that doesn't require a large chunk of time away.
Alone time can be taking 2 or 3 minutes in the car before you go pick your kids up or before you go back into the house after work.
Lazarus says to take what works best for you into consideration.
The one size doesn't fit everyone, or that being flexible and finding a balance is best.
And that was Emily Gibbs reporting. Time alone can help you to be more present, especially throughout the holidays. Those who are struggling with their mental health may benefit from talking to a therapist.
We are less than 1 month away from 2026, which means lots of people will start talking about and thinking about their New Year's resolutions. But now is the time to actually get a game plan in place. According to research, many people abandon their resolutions by the second Friday in January. They just give up. They're like, nope, this is too much. Therapists say getting an early start could help keep your goal. Check out that beautiful view of our tower. Blue skies. Wow. Well, as we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines that we are following today. The suspect in connection with the fatal shooting of a 12-year-old in Clayton is now in custody. Clayton police say Tyreen Washington turned himself in today. On Friday night, police were responding to a disturbance at an apartment on Commodore Street. While there, officers learned the boy had been shot. He died at the scene. Washington was arrested on a manslaughter charge.
Starting today, if you have Cigna health insurance and you use UNC Health Systems, you'll have to find a new provider or risk paying much more money. After months of negotiations, the two sides could not come to an agreement before yesterday's deadline. This impacts roughly 65,000 people across the state and puts many patients in a bind, with UNC Health being out of network. Both UNC and Cigna say negotiations are not dead.
3 people are in custody in connection with a stolen vehicle and chase in Wake County. Sky 5 was over that scene near Battle Bridge and Rock Quarry Roads. Deputies say they tried to stop a car matching the description of a stolen vehicle, but that driver kept going. They chased the vehicle until the driver and 2 others got out and started running. K-9 units and multiple law enforcement agencies helped to capture them.
A California homeowner is relying on fish and wildlife experts to show up today to rid his home of an unwanted guest. A large bear has made itself comfortable in the crawl space of this guy's home. It all started back in June when the homeowner noticed things near the entrance to the crawl space a bit out of place. So he installed a few cameras but didn't see anything for months until recently. The cameras have captured this bear coming and going at all hours of the day.
I went around to put batteries in the camera, and this huge growl comes out from under the crawl space, and I just went running. I was so scared. I mean, it was the most amazing sound you've ever heard, this huge roar like a lion with a hiss on top of it.
Wow, how terrifying. The homeowner called wildlife experts, and wouldn't you know it, they were on vacation until today. So hopefully they can get out there and coax this guy to find a new place to rest.
Sorry, we can't help you today, but we'll be back tomorrow to help get the bear out of your home. Oh my goodness, wow. Well, have you ever read something online and found it so offensive or shocking that you felt you had to respond? Well, you've likely been the victim of Oxford's 2025 Word of the Year. Rage bait is content deliberately designed to elicit anger in order to increase engagement. Sometimes rage bait can be relatively harmless, a recipe that contains disgusting food combinations or someone annoying their pet, partner, or sibling. But it also has entered political discourse to provoke a counter reaction. Rage bait.
Intense emotions. Our pet of the day, this is cute bait, okay? Comes to us from Per Partners. Meet Marie Catwanette. This 2-year-old domestic short hair is an independent girl looking for a quiet home with an experienced cat owner who will allow time to build a relationship with her. To meet her, go to perpartners.org.
Oh my goodness.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL. Your next local news update in 30 minutes.
And you can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. We'll leave you with this beautiful view of our studio tower. Have a great day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.